Museums and libraries are often the only places one can get a glimpse into the lives of past peoples, and a good museum will have developed interactive exhibits to connect the modern visitor to the past. Oftentimes, museums will get objects meant to be used and played with, but have fallen into disrepair due to the wear of time. Simply displaying these do not accurately give a sense of what these objects do. Puppets and dolls are one such find. Luckily for us, modern technology gives us the ability to interact with representations of ideas through virtual reality. And Georgia Tech loves its VR. Dr. Michael Nishi of the School of Literature, Media, and Communications was contacted by the Center for Puppetry Arts to archive some of these puppets in virtual reality. Could this technology translate into an interactive approach to museum archival?
So that project is a project funded by the National Endowment of the Humanities, the NEH, and it's a research and development project. So it was a test case for us, basically. The project is about 3D scanning and 3D representing objects that are usually done already in big collections like the V&A or the Smithsonian. But they take the objects, 3D scan it, and put them on a website or make them somehow available, and then they stay there as merely objects. For some objects, this is just not good enough. Some objects need to be manipulated, need to function, need to operate. And this is what this is about. It's about objects that are not just scanned and digitized, but they're also scanned, digitized, and made accessible, so we can play with them afterwards. And that's the main difference. So what we tried to do was not to replace the real puppet. We did not want to put the virtual puppet on top of the physical one. That was not our goal. What the goal was that there are puppets that are in the Center for Puppetry Arts, for example, that are forever inaccessible to you. Like they have Kermit the Frog, for example. Kermit the Frog was stuffed with a particular kind of foam, and that foam deteriorates after a certain amount of years. It just crumbles into pieces. It needs to be restored, and it can be restored, but then it doesn't work as a puppet anymore, because then it's a different form, kind of feel, and a different kind of manipulable form to it. So if you want to play with Kermit the Frog ever, it has to be through some medium. And that's what we try to provide. We try to remediate the puppets. So the controls are very limited. The original Kermit the Frog controls are much more elaborate than the ones that we would offer. So we, for example, have multiple rod puppets in our virtual collection. And they work, but they are very limited. But that's fine. It is still better than no controls at all. It's a bit like taking a picture of the puppet or making a video of the puppet or doing a description of the puppet. It is detached from the actual puppet. So are our controls. They're a remediation of the controls. So they are much more limited, and they're no direct comparison. But they at least allow you to play with them, to experience them, to look at them, to kind of see what is possible with the joints and how the head moves and how it relates to the body. So the way we did this is, so we had the puppet standing and the controllers floating above in the air. You will reach out with your Vive controllers. You would click. Clicking means you pick it up, and you would hold it then depending on where you picked it up. And you could click with the second Vive controller and pick up the other part. So one would control the knees, one would control the body, for example. So yeah, this would be combined. You could also click twice with one controller and would hold everything with one controller. So that would be the analogy for dividing or separating the controller. Same with the rod puppets. So we had multiple rod puppets, and if you've ever seen like a real rod puppet player, they play like multiple puppets with like fingers. They have like literally the rods between their fingers and can play like 3-6 puppets at the same time. So in our case, you can collect different rods with the same Vive controller and operate the puppet with that way too. So we try to play with this, but it obviously doesn't map completely. You can't pull individual strings. You can't control individual parts of joints. It's much more general, much more abstract than that. Which is fine. Like I said, we do not want to replace puppet and puppetry art at all. It's a magic art form, and it should stay magic in the hands of the masters. But for those of us who will never ever have the opportunity to play with this marionette because it's in a box in an archive, this is the only way we will ever get our hands on anything like it.
Next time you visit a museum, appreciate that we still have these objects to look at, and someday You might even be able to use them in virtual reality. For Rambling Research, I'm William Gao.